The air felt thick, suffocating even, as I drove down the narrow, winding road. The headlights of my car cut through the darkness ahead, casting long, trembling shadows that seemed to stretch across the forest on either side. I didn't want to be here. No one in their right mind would want to be. But something pulled me toward this place, something I couldn't ignore, no matter how much I tried to push it away. The road I was on didn't even have a name on any map, just a series of twisted curves leading to, well, to nowhere. Or so I thought. My name is James, and I had heard rumors about this place. Stories of strange disappearances, whispers of dark spirits lingering around the woods. But rumors are just rumors, right? That's what I told myself as I kept my foot firmly on the gas. The trees, twisted and gnarled, seemed to press in on me. The wind howled, sending dry leaves skittering across the road. In the distance, I saw the faint outline of a house, barely visible through the fog that had begun to creep up from the ground. It was an old, decrepit building, its windows dark and empty, its silhouette casting an eerie reflection in the dim light of the car's headlights. A shiver ran down my spine as I slowed the car, unsure of what to expect. I had no reason to stop, no reason to even glance at that house, but something was drawing me in. A whisper on the wind, a cold chill crawling across my skin. It wasn't natural, it felt wrong. I parked the car at the edge of the driveway, the gravel crunching beneath the tires. The silence was deafening, broken only by the faint sound of my own heartbeat. I stepped out of the car, the cold night air instantly biting at my skin, and hesitated for just a moment. My instincts screamed at me to turn around, to leave, but I didn't. The front door of the house creaked open as if it were expecting me. There was no one there, at least no one I could see, but the door was wide enough to invite me in. I stood frozen for a moment, staring at the empty frame. Then, against every rational thought in my head, I took a step forward. Just one. And another. I hadn't noticed it before, but there were no other sounds around, no rustling of leaves in the wind, no distant hum of civilization, just silence. My breath came in shallow gasps as I moved closer to the door, which seemed to beckon me. As I stepped inside, I felt it immediately. The air inside was thick with dust and decay. But there was something else, a presence, a feeling that I wasn't alone. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, every muscle in my body tensed, ready to run. But there was nowhere to run. The house was empty, or so it seemed. There was nothing remarkable about it at first glance. Just old furniture covered in white sheets, a few paintings on the walls, the faint smell of mildew hanging in the air. But the longer I stood there, the more I noticed. The shadows in the corners seemed too dark, too deep. The silence was too heavy. I could hear something, no, someone, whispering in the distance. The faintest sound, just beyond the reach of hearing. I tried to ignore it, moving deeper into the house, but it grew louder. A low, almost inaudible murmur, like voices calling from just around the corner. The house was old, sure, but no house should make you feel like this. The staircase loomed ahead of me, its steps creaking under my feet as I ascended. The whispers grew clearer, more urgent, but I couldn't make out the words. I reached the top of the stairs and found myself standing in a long hallway. To my left, a door stood ajar, a faint light spilling from the crack. I didn't want to open it, but something inside me, the same thing that had brought me here in the first place, forced me forward. I pushed the door open, and as it creaked on its hinges, the smell hit me. It was overpowering, damp, like something had been rotting for years. But it wasn't just the smell. The room was dark, save for a single, flickering candle sitting on a small table in the center of the room. And there, standing in the corner, was something that made my blood run cold. A figure, pale, barely visible in the dim light. It wasn't moving, but I could feel its presence, I stepped back, heart racing, but the door slammed shut behind me, trapping me inside. I turned, desperate to escape, but the room seemed to grow smaller, the walls closing in on me. The figure moved, just slightly, its head turning toward me. I couldn't see its face, just the shape of it, a dark, hunched silhouette, something unnatural. Then the whispering started again. This time, I could hear the words, faint, like they were being spoken through a veil. Leave. Now. I stumbled backward, my hands shaking as I tried to open the door. But it wouldn't budge. It was as if the house itself were holding me captive. My pulse thundered in my ears, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Suddenly, the room grew colder, the temperature dropping so fast I